Hello everybody. I get lots of questions and see lots of questions on social media of people asking what kind of shrimp do I have, or what name does this shrimp have, what kind of shrimp I got here. Keep in mind, everything I talk about in this video will be about Neocaridina shrimp, also known as the cherry shrimp. We love our little shrimp critters and want to know all we can about them, but there's a great deal of debate of what shrimp are called or sold by, and what does that all mean? What am I actually getting here? What does this name mean? This will be the first video in a series of videos I will make about shrimp names. And the first color of shrimp I want to talk about is the red shrimp. First, to hopefully make things less confusing, let's talk about the term cherry shrimp. The way the term is used can be very confusing for most people that are not necessarily shrimp keepers that think of a little red shrimp when they hear the term cherry shrimp. The term cherry shrimp can also be used to describe all Neocaridina shrimp. I know this is a bit confusing, but just remember, Neocaridina shrimp equals cherry shrimp. For most people, cherry shrimp equals red shrimp. This originated because red was the first color of Neocaridina commercialized as far as I'm aware of. So back then, the only Neocaridina shrimp commonly available was red, so hence the name cherry shrimp. Nowadays, there's a Neo for almost every color of the rainbow, but the name cherry shrimp still sticks. So let's now get to talking about the red shrimp. When it comes to red Neocaridina shrimp, aka red cherry shrimp, the names that they are given are based upon the grade of shrimp, which basically means how good of a shrimp is this. The generic term cherry shrimp generally refers to a low grade red Neocaridina shrimp. The red Neocaridina shrimp you could call mid-grade are called sakura. Super good red shrimp are referred to as fire red shrimp, and the best of the very best Neocaridina shrimp are called fire reds. Many people ask, can my red cherry shrimp breed with my fire red shrimp? It's a question I see over and over and over again from new shrimp keepers, and the answer is yes. All Neocaridina shrimp lines will breed with each other. When it comes to red Neocaridina shrimp, it is important to know that the name they go by is their grade, but in fact they are all red Neocaridina. Breeders started out all those years ago with a wild cherry shrimp and then refined it to be better and better and better over the years. The better they got the red color, the better the name got. It is important to remember that Bloody Mary shrimp, while Neocaridina shrimp, are not part of the red shrimp lineage. They are their own completely different line with a completely different lineage. Alright, here we are. We're looking at the Neocaridina family tree. If you look all the way on the left, you got your blue pearl, white pearl, then you got your yellows. Then you got your orange realies and greens and orange, and then right smack dab in the middle of this thing, we've got where it says ND, Neocaridina dividii. We have W red cherry. That means wild red cherry shrimp. And that is what the shrimp they started off of. That's how the breeders started, and then breeders refined it into sakura red, which is a little bit better. And then a little bit better than sakura red is fire red. Then the absolute best perfect red shrimp you can get is called painted fire red. Now if you look all the way over to the right, you'll see wild Bloody Marys. And then just like there are good Bloody Marys, there are bad Bloody Marys. There are different grades of Bloody Marys. So Bloody Marys tend to be confused with reds. And I'll talk about why and how a little bit later. But just remember, Bloody Mary shrimp, even though they look red, they are not red. They are their completely own line and completely different lineage. Alright, and here we have a wild cherry, just a regular cherry shrimp. This is the lowest grade cherry shrimp. You can see how it doesn't have quite continuous color. The colors in banding, and so you see it's not completely fully red. Alright, and now this shrimp would be a sakura grade. Now this is a lower sakura. The middle ground there that are the sakuras, there are higher sakuras and lower sakuras, so this would be a lower sakura. And you can tell it's more fully red, but its legs aren't quite fully red, and you can see its saddle. So that means you can see through it. So if it has eggs, you can see through it. For it to be a fire red or a painted fire red, you would not be able to see the saddle or be able to see the eggs or anything that would be inside the shrimp. So this would be one of the highest grade red shrimps. Now this would be a fire red / painted fire red. I'm not sure what you would want to call it exactly for sure. Now this is a little bit of a different shrimp than what was in the thumbnail, but you can see this one might be closer to fire red, and the one in the first picture might have been a painted fire red. But you can see, you cannot really see the eggs through the shrimp. You can only see the eggs that are sticking out underneath the belly of the shrimp. So all you can see is the eggs sticking out of the undercarriage. You cannot see the eggs through the shrimp's exoskeleton. So that's pretty cool. I mean, that's pretty good shrimp right there. You got the pure red legs and no see-through body. Okay, so one thing to keep in mind is that what happens when you mix the different kinds of red shrimp. They're all just red shrimp when it comes to reds. Now that's not counting Bloody Marys, but when you mix say you mixed a cherry with a fire red, you would end up with something in between. You'd possibly end up with some fire reds, and you'd mainly end up with shrimp that were in between. Now the fact of the matter is, this is my best red shrimp line. I'm calling fire reds, but as you can see, if you look real close, not every single shrimp is going to be classified as a fire red. So that's why we call shrimp. So this, one of the lowest grades in here would be sakura, mid sakura, then you got probably, let's see, that would be like a high sakura, because you can just barely see the eggs through there. So that would not qualify fully as a fire red. Pretty dang close, but not quite. So that's what you're looking for. This is just a mixed red tank I have, and there's some yellow looking shrimp in here and some wilds, but you see there's a lot lower quality of shrimp in here. I just have as mixed reds. And you see a lot more that would just be classified as cherry. They still have the same genetics. All my red shrimp are the same line. They all started from the same shrimp. It's just that over the years, like in this tank, I never cull all this tank. This tank just gets culls added to it, while the fire red tank gets culled much harder. And these, the ones that come out of here, the culls, they either go into the Skittles or the mixed tank that I was just showing you. And down here, Mr. Plucko's enjoying the algae wafers I used to bait out the shrimp. This is what I classify as my sakura tank. You can see. Now there's some in there that are fire reds, and there's even going to be a few in there that would be cherries. But overall, these are mainly sakura shrimp. Now with this tank, I never put my fire red culls in here. I only take out shrimp that fall below the sakura threshold, and those again, they either go in the mixed red tank or they go in the Skittles tank. So this chart right here is very, very bad. Now everything on here is alright except for the Bloody Mary. Now this chart right here has caused me lots of grief, let me tell you. I've tried helping so many people. I've tried explaining to them that Bloody Marys are different than reds. They are not the same line. They come from completely different lineages. But then I've had people ready to fight me to the death telling me, and this is their proof. They post a screenshot of this chart telling me how wrong I am, and like, look, there it is. So basically what this chart is and what's causing confusion is this chart has an absolutely perfect show quality Bloody Mary shrimp, and so then people think if the shrimp isn't wine red, completely not see-through, completely dark like that, then it's not a Bloody Mary, because they think Bloody Mary is just a kind of red shrimp, but it's not. It's its completely own different line, completely different. So basically what's happened, I even recently had someone tell me just how bad my Bloody Mary shrimp suck, because not every single one of them look like that. They went in to tell me, your Bloody Mary shrimp need to have this, need to have this. They're not Bloody Mary shrimp, they're just cherry shrimp. Well, cherry shrimp refers to reds. Just because a Bloody Mary shrimp isn't a show quality shrimp does not make it not a Bloody Mary. So, or a bad Bloody Mary, I should say. Because just like there are good reds and bad reds, there are good Bloody Marys. And so I try to keep my Bloody Marys as good as I can, and you can tell. Just like with reds, the less see-through, the better. And then you also have the kind that glow, because again, I earlier explained, the Bloody Marys, their shells are clear, and you see the red flesh underneath. With reds, you're seeing a red shell. That is the main difference. So Bloody Marys and reds are completely different. All right, everybody. So I know all this is pretty confusing. So we got cherry shrimp. It can be all Neocaridina shrimp, but mainly when people are referring to cherry shrimp, they're talking about red shrimp. And out of the red shrimp, we have just our regular cherry shrimp. Then we have our sakuras and all the different kinds of sakuras. There's lots of sakuras. There's lots of in between. And so sakura can be just barely a little better than cherry or almost fire red. And then we have fire reds, and then the absolute best of the best is fire reds. Now when you mix them together, you're going to get a mix, and this is why we call out the shrimp. You want to take out the best and keep them separated from the rest, or take out the worst. It depends how you want to do it. And then we have our Bloody Marys. While they appear red and look red, and many people don't understand it, I myself, it took me a while to understand the differences of a red shrimp versus a Bloody Mary shrimp. But after a while, I eventually got it, and now it's so frustrating when I try to explain it. Not everyone gets it, and there's all kinds of charts out there like the one I showed that are wrong, and that even adds to the confusion. And like I said, I've even had people use the chart to try to prove me wrong and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. And I've had people tell me my Bloody Mary shrimp suck because they're not perfect like the one on the chart, and they think Bloody Mary is some kind of a graded red shrimp, when it is entirely its own line. So just because there's good reds and bad reds, there's good Bloody Marys and bad Bloody Marys. And so that's the whole point of that. So I hope this helped with maybe some of the confusion. Maybe it made it worse. I hope not. But I hope this helps some new people out there understand the differences between red shrimp. And again, all Neocaridina, it doesn't matter what kind. You put them together, they'll all breed. But you want to keep your reds separated. And if you mix your reds and Bloody Marys, they're two different lines, so you're going to get bad shrimp. You don't want to mix them together because they're completely two different sets of genetics. So again, hopefully I helped someone. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.